Let's see.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. And we are live. I am Rochelle Graham, owner of Mindful Living Therapy and Counseling, and I have with me today the beautiful Miss Shakera Stevenson. And our topic today is Black mothers and sons, from emasculation to empowerment. And before we get into what we get into today, I would like to just open up in prayer so that we, all minds, hearts, and spirits, are on one accord. Okay. Father God, thank you for this time. Thank you for this moment. Thank you just for your grace, your wisdom, and your presence, Father God. I just ask that this information of what we shared today, full of wisdom, full of your truth, is shared with the right people, and that it touches lives, touches hearts, and that we're doing what we need to do to build for your kingdom, Father God. This conversation alone is to build, not to tear down. Is to cover and to protect, Father God. We just ask all these things in your son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. All right. So the topic today, and we were just talking about this, is very sensitive, I'm sure. Any parenting topic is. And it's not to shame Black mothers. It's not to point the finger at Black mothers. I think Black mothers get that finger pointed at them enough. But it's to explore how history and trauma affect and shape communication, and how we can build trust with our sons as they grow into confident, emotionally safe men, right? So without further ado, let's get into some sister girl talk. Hey, Shakera.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, can you introduce yourself and how many children you have?
My name is Shakera Stevenson. I am a Master of Social Work student at Rutgers University and also an intern at Mindful Living and Therapy. I have 4 children, 2 boys, 2 girls. I have one adult boy. He's 26. I have an adult daughter who's 21 and graduating in 2 weeks from college. I have a 7-year-old boy and a 5-year-old girl.
So as you can see, she's just as crazy as I am because there's 4 kids involved in here. Right? Wonderful mother, though. Wonderful mother, wonderful student. And you're also a student as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
You go to Rutgers. And just amazing, intern, like she's interning to be a social worker. So all around, just wonderful woman. And I think both of us can really look at this topic and kind of see where our community in general, all of us, men, women, children, how we can do better as mothers, how we can do better as parents. But I think what is happening today has a lot to do with yesterday, the past, right? So Shakera and I were having a conversation about currently the popular trend of the idea that there's a bunch of, or a good amount of Black men who have a lot of comments or criticism toward Black women, right? And I'm not saying it's not vice versa, but today we're going to just stick to the topic and not have ADHD, right? So, but there is a healthy amount of content out there that is divisive regarding Black men and Black women. And Shakera and I kind of mentioned that this might be as a result of what happened in the past regarding Black sons and Black mothers. Because how could you not appreciate, adore, admire Black women when your mother is Black? Obviously, there is something askew, or something is gone wrong with the communication between Black boys and their mothers. So, Shakera, what do you see? And we'll go from there. What do you see in the community regarding that?
I think in a lot of cases, there's a level of stressors, right? That, and if we want to use single parent households, there's a level of stressors that are experienced where the mom or the singular parent becomes all encompassed. They're the disciplinarian, they're the nurturer, they're the nurse, the doctor, the short order cook, they're the all of the things. And when you think about it holistically, right, one person managing all of those hats, there is going to be bouts of frustration. There is going to be bouts of, you know, an immense amount of stress, if you want to be technical. So sometimes those things can come off very off-putting, right? Because in high intense situations, you may be yelling, you may be screaming, you may be, you know, disconnected. And so I think that is where the conversation and communication gaps begin, in those disconnects, right? Of the parent trying to be all encompassed, and trying to figure out what their next move is, all while someone's asking for a snack. It can send you 0 to 100. It can.
Absolutely.
I've been there. But even in those situations, we have to find a way to do a little self-reflecting. And while we may not always want to acknowledge that our youth or our children or even our younger adults are people, right? And they have feelings and emotions and all of those things. While we may not want to acknowledge that in all aspects, I think sometimes if we just apologize, go back and say, hey, my bad. I was having a bad day. That wasn't even for you.
Yeah.
Because it's the same, it's what we would have wanted when we got it, right?
Absolutely.
When we received that treatment.
Absolutely. It's like, what are we trying to convey, right? It's what is our communication conveying to our children when we're frustrated and tired? But then also, what happens when we don't redeem ourselves, right? When we're prideful and I'm the parent, you're supposed to be compliant, I don't have to apologize, And one thing I do know about Black women, like, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just a Black woman. I know we're sensitive about a lot of things.
You know that coming from boomer households, it's I'm the adult, you're the child, stay in your place, out of sight, out of mind. Don't ask me no questions because you don't pay no bills here. You have absolutely no right to come in here and tell me what
Absolutely.
My house. So like all of those things get passed down. Like if we lived through it and that was our experience, at some point we start to inflict that on our offspring as well. Whether it's purposeful or inadvertently, we do it unknowing, or sometimes not even paying attention to how that impacted us, and putting ourselves in our kids' shoes and saying, well, how could they be feeling about that? Because I didn't like it when it happened to me.
That's true. That is absolutely true. And it takes a lot of reflection, like you mentioned. What I was just thinking too, I mean, the title is From Emasculation to Empowerment. But in a parallel process, Black boys are emasculated, but then Black women become emasculated. So there's this parallel process that's really happening. We're being put in very masculine positions. And now our sons are seeing this. And now, the current trend is Black women are too masculine. And it's like, and then even from Black women's perspective, Black men are too emasculated. So we are trauma bonding, and all of this is ending up on social media.
Yep. And wildly enough, we didn't have all of this back then. So I feel like it's always been there, right? It just wasn't publicized.
Yeah.
And now, while it's publicized, it should, in my opinion, shed some light on where we need to reconnect, instead of continuously tear down. Because I mean, systematically, that's how it was designed to be, for a tear down, right? Separation. They were trying to separate us since the 60s, the 70s.
Well, you could even tell through some movies. I mean, if we go back, I mean, you know me, I'm gonna go back in the time, but Gone with the Wind, or there were certain scenes that showed Black women and Black men in a divisive manner, but they use comic or comedy to reflect that. So a lot of times when you see our shows and our movies, there has to always be an antagonist. And that antagonistic relationship is always usually Black man, Black woman. So we really have to be very careful what we're laughing at or what we're nodding our heads to, you know, and whether it's funny or not. I think to be reflective and to be hyper vigilant because of what we are kind of prone to accept.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Indeed.
Yeah. Yep. And it kind of makes me wonder too, when it comes to young boys, the relationship between Black boys and Black mothers. Do Black boys feel safe, emotionally safe at home to be vulnerable, to cry, to show anything that what we would consider weakness? Do they feel vulnerable enough to do that?
Well, what I will say is, because I've been in this situation twice, I have one who may not, and I have one who does. And that comes also with evolution, right? Evolution as a woman, evolution as a parent, evolution as a Black woman, evolution as a mother to a Black son. I think all of those things come with evolution, right? Because with my oldest, I can honestly say he lived through some of the same traumas that I did, right? Because I'm like, this is what I was taught. This is what I know, right? I'm doing my best. Doesn't mean it was right? Like they taught me this.
Right.
But then fast forward and seeing him mature into a young man and having had conversations with him, I sit back and I say, well, did I have to do that way? Because my grandparents or my parents did it that way. Like,
right.
If there's no book, why am I following them? If there's no book, then why can't I do this my way? Right? Like, why can't I take the step and say, okay, let me talk to you.
Right.
Let's open the floor. Right?
Make you feel safe.
Right.
Intentionally.
Yeah. I have to find my own safety in myself. Right. Yeah. That's a thing too. Right. Like, I had to find my own safety within myself to be able to be safe for these new age ones. And even in that, with my younger children, getting to this point with them, I've gone back and said, hey, older kids, I love you. And I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have done that. But also, I think I met you guys at my most terrible self. I was not my best self. I was drenched in survival. I was a young mom just trying to make it and experiencing all of this adversity while still trying to shield you from any consequence or experience that was not pretty, right?
Yeah.
Having the courage to go back and apologize, I think, is one of the bigger challenges.
No, absolutely. It's a challenge, and which is why this topic is very sensitive, because I mean, you and I were born in the 80s. I don't remember ever seeing a parent apologize. This is why we have comic relief on TikTok and how Black moms apologize. They come into your room and ask you want them shoes on.
I remember getting a whole bedroom set. Like, I get it. I got a whole set.
Exactly. And it's like, what did that display? Well, it displayed that you can be abusive as long as you buy me things. And we were so messed up. And like, I remember you saying a long time ago, and I laugh at it to this day, and I use it as comic relief. But we were born near during the time when crack is at its height. This is when we were born. So even if you were not on crack, you probably was gonna act like it. Like it, you know, I mean, it sounds sweet, but this is the time.
And see, that's the thing. In the 80s, and me and my family member have a huge chuckle out of this because we call it the organic crack versus the GMO crack that's out here right now. This is different.
This one is different
because those ones they were functioning.
Right.
There was it may not have been pretty, but we had what we needed. They were
what we needed.
People I've ever met, right? And so that organic crack taught us a lot of things because there was still a lot of skilled people on those drugs and out here, and we learned from them whether we want to admit that we did or not. That there was one guy that my grandmother had as a handyman. This man knew how to fix everything. Cars, houses, electrical, plumbing. He did it all.
Yeah.
He did it all.
He was skilled.
He was skilled.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now he may have came to work speeding on 100, right? Around, but he got it done.
Yes. It's different. He was skilled. And, you know, there was still some toxicity, but, you know, it was just a different time. And I think we have to take into, when we talk about these topics, we have to take into account systemically what was happening to our culture, you know, specifically, and with us, and just take a systemic lens and look at everything and dissect it. So systemically, Black boys, right? I know in my husband's case, he was one of 3 kids. And I think, you know, he was the oldest. So he had like this parentified role, you know, before people knew what parentified was, that's what he had. He had to watch his siblings a lot. And, you know, mom and dad were young when they had them. So he, you know, there were fights, there were this, there was that. So I'm pretty sure he felt that, you know, as a protector, he had to watch them in such a way to cover, so that he was put in such a role. Whereas today we would recognize it and call it parentification. That's what it's called, you know. And I think what we do a lot of times with Black kids in general, but especially Black boys, they're viewed as older and less innocent at an early age. Like by the time they're 2, like I remember I was walking past an office, a doctor's office or something in Philly, and this guy who was walking with his 2-year-old, the 2-year-old was crying, whining like 2-year-olds are supposed to do, and he was telling him to man up. And I'm like, but how?
But why would he know how to do that? Why would he know how to do that?
Yes. Yes. Oh, Miss Stephanie, thank you. Good morning. I'm just looking at the comments. Hey, Miss Stephanie. That's my other mother.
Okay.
Really my other sister, because she looks like 34.
I love that.
She's amazing because she's vegan, y'all. I'm trying to get there. But thank you, Miss Stephanie. I love you. Thank you. But yeah, we look at Black boys as much older. And because of that, we inherently give them too much responsibility.
But also keep in mind that a lot of times our Black boys are bigger in size, right? Because my 7-year-old looked like he was 10 3 years ago, like, you know, and because of that, even I sometimes have a hard time recognizing, but wait a minute, hold on, he's only 7. What am I doing? He's only 7. He wouldn't know that. He should not be able to manage his emotions well. He should not be able to self-regulate without assistance. He should not be able to clean the house and mow the lawn, and you know, while he looks,
because if he was able to do all those things at 6, 7, or 8, then we have something weird going on. Because why is he too mature? What's going on?
Grown man trapped in his little body.
What Benjamin Button thing is going on over there?
Like, we do have to be mindful of that, of the amount of responsibility, but let's not even just put it towards our boys, our girls too.
Yeah.
Because we raise them.
We raise the girls.
We raise them.
And we do what with the boys?
Coddle.
We do. And you know what? That's not just true in Black American culture. I find that I've heard that in African culture as well.
But if you think about it, take that back to slavery. Who had to stand in front of the boys and make sure that they didn't get through? You're not going to take my son. You're not going to take my husband.
Black women.
Black women have always been standing in the gap.
Yes.
We have stood in the gap. And so even now, historically, that has been our role.
That has been our role, to protect and to cover.
Protect
and a very emasculating role, but that's what our role was.
Protect and cover. And in that, while it was protection, we emasculated our men by taking away their job. That umbrella of the hierarchy, God, husband. What was the husband's job? To lead and protect. We stepped over the husbands. We have stepped over the husbands and have always, going back to slavery, stepped over the husbands.
And what is that called?
Epigenetics.
That's what, and that is so real. It is so real. Epigenetics is so real. When I tell you, when I've started reading, and I suggest everyone read this. I think it should be in every classroom, personally, as far as high school and college. But Joy DeGruy, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. This is, no matter how educated you are, if you are not reflective, if you don't know your history truly, you are going to exhibit a lot of these symptoms. And you're not going to know why, and epigenetics is so real. As a Black woman, it's hard to step back and say, I'm going to let him cover, I'm going to let him lead. Because then what am I doing? I'm just present. I'm just being. I'm just existing. I don't know how to do that.
I'm not enough if I'm doing that.
I'm not enough if I'm just being present. Because, and it shows up when we're sitting on the couch and let's say somebody walks in, we got to get up and act like we're doing something because we are not used to resting in who we actually are as women.
We were never allowed to rest.
Yeah.
Even back to slavery.
Yeah.
We were never allowed to rest.
Yeah.
You think that the Black women that were inside the slave masters' houses were ever allowed to sit down?
No.
They had to be doing something, make busy. So what did we learn from our grandparents and great-grandparents? You better get up, make busy.
In order to be trusted, because Black women are trusted in white spaces as long as we're overworking.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, wait, let me rephrase that. Black women are respected and loved in all spaces as long as we're overworked.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
You sit down.
There's always you are not white. Right.
When I was probably like 17, 16 or something like that. And my grandmother said, it's always a corner to be scrubbed. Don't sit down. And at that time I had a baby.
Yeah.
And I was still in high school.
You were a baby. Yeah.
Always a corner. So when I came off that bus, because back then my school, this is quite ghetto, but my school had a teacher in it, right? Because that's how many of us, it was systemic, right? Like me and all my friends had kids at the time. Okay. There was a daycare in the school. Mm-hmm. And the daycare would come and pick us up, and our car seats were already strapped in, and we would just get on the bus with our kids and in our diaper bags. And then we get dropped off with our kid in our diaper bag after school. Mm-hmm. And while we were in school, we can do all of the things, right? Like go to classes, all of our classes, but our lunch break, we didn't get a chance to eat. We had to eat with our kids, right? Mm-hmm. Go in and feed our kids.
Yeah.
Right. And so not a problem. I never had an issue with that. And I actually enjoyed it more because it was a more intimate setting, and it was always something to be seen. And I never got it. I never felt like I missed the moment of his upcoming, right?
Yeah.
But when I would get off that bus after being in that schoolhouse all day and get off that bus with that baby and going and he wailing. And she looked me dead in the eyes, always a corner to be scrubbed. Ma'am, please. Okay.
It's a bed to be laid down on. What are we doing?
I'm dead. Okay.
Oh, wow.
I got to clean bottles. I got to prepare for the next day. We got to do this all over again, ma'am.
Wow.
Please.
See, rest really builds a deeper connection. And I think that just to think about some tools, because we stated the problem. The problem is that Black boys probably feel unsafe to express vulnerable emotions. And let's go even deeper. Black men probably feel, and I'm taking accountability now. You know what I mean? Just for women, period. Black women, period. Black men probably feel unsafe expressing vulnerable emotions to us because we have been put in so many different positions of masculinity. And we're angry, we're frustrated, we're tired, we're rejected, we're abandoned, all these things. But I always say, you know, when it comes to, and I've done couples counseling before, and one of the questions I asked one time to a couple that was a complaint of he lied, he's dishonest. I've asked the question, I said, have you ever made it safe for him to be honest? And I'm not going to lie, that would be a question for all of us. Like, do we make it safe for Black men to show vulnerable feelings? Now, there's exceptions and there's some people that know how to do that. But communication is something that it's an art. And a lot of us haven't been taught that unless we actually become reflective and go to school. Education is key. And wisdom is so much key. God is key. So that we can be humble enough to say, as a Black woman, I may not be loving my son right, and I may not be loving my husband correctly. What can I do to be a better listener? What can I do to be more reflective, more compassionate? How do I make it safe without emasculating, right? That's humility.
In your first Parent Connect, I think, reflective listening was there.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think many of us have learned that skill.
Yeah.
He's 7. So I'm going to say I'm 5 years in, right? Because I used to always tell my kids, give me the older kids, give me the plot. Don't beat around it. Don't take too long to get there. Hit me with the plot first. Hit me where it hurts first so I can get past that. And then we can process. I tell my kids all the time, I don't want to kick it. I don't want to kick it. Hit me, give me the nitty gritty of the story.
You ain't got a lot to kick it. Give me the juice. Give me the meat and potatoes.
Hit me with the good part, because I don't want because once you start interweaving that story, it's some lies in there. I don't want to hear that. What's the plot?
Exactly.
Hit me with the plot first. Yep. And they can't stand it. When my daughter calls me from college and I got this and that. What? This story getting too long. Hit me with the plot. I think you have lost the plot. That's what I say to her.
I love that outlook. Absolutely. I'm gonna have to use that. Give me the plot so I can, really process everything, and how do we as Black mothers, what is reflective listening? How do we do that?
Be quiet. What a lot of Black women can't do, because as soon as you start talking, they got.
And then what about our demeanor? And because listen, I love being a Black woman. I love our culture. I love Black American culture. That's who I am. That's where I'm from. It is all good. But what can we do with our bodies, our demeanor?
We're about to bust out the seams.
You can listen all day, but it's like, it's a very hard listen. How do we softly listen?
Listen, now, if you have never been given the opportunity to be soft, it is very, very hard for you to softly listen. Okay.
This is
I'm just saying. I believe that and my kids, my older kids have, I am like I stand in the gap for a lot of things in my family, right?
Mhm.
And not to go too deep or whatever, but I literally raised myself, right? Like my mom passed when I was 10, my dad at 15, my grandmother, my maternal grandmother at 25. So
Right.
that was my core.
Yeah.
It was all gone, right? Like, so I literally cycled through life on my own, right?
Right.
So I know for certain that I did some damage,
Okay. Okay.
right? Not because I wanted to, because I was trying to survive and I was a kid,
You were a kid.
right? And my siblings are much older than me. My brother 15 years, my sister was 13 years.
Yeah.
So when our mom passed, they were adults
Yeah.
and they were off in their own world. And while they loved me and wanted to help me, they couldn't help themselves.
Mm.
They were literally drowning in the experience of being young adults without their parents,
Yeah.
struggling with addiction, right? Like both of them. So they couldn't help me. So like by 13, I think, or 14, my brother had a kid. And this is even before I had a kid,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so I would come home from school and in elementary school, it was K through 8 there. And so I would walk those 10 blocks to get home from school and get my nephew in a stroller. And now while I'm hanging out with my friends, I got a 1-year-old
Yeah.
with a bottle and a diaper bag. And we about the town till the street lights came on. And I had to wash him and feed him. And he was my doll. And I just recently found a picture of him in the same stroller that I used to push him in. Someone posted it. My
Yeah.
uncle, who used to be like the town cameraman, he had posted
Yeah.
it on Facebook. And I was like, oh, like I melted. I'm like, I know this day. I know where we were. I know I dressed you. Like, and I sent it to my nephew and I said, you know, I was a kid and you were my doll. You
Mhm.
were my living doll,
Yeah.
right? And I stood in the gap for a lot of things because the addiction was real. And what I share with them is that, like, even with my sister's kids, I'm like, you guys, I seen a lot. And while you guys were never got the chance to see that, it was because my back was against it. Even for my own kids.
Mhm.
Like, you know, when my daughter's like, oh, we grew up in the hood, girl, you have never. She told me a story just recently, her and her friends in college. And they were talking about the struggle meals, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And they brought up, oh, we used to have to eat ramen. You know, some of the kids we used to have to eat ramen every night and blah, 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 blah. And my daughter goes, yeah, my mom used to make ramen, but she would add shrimp and vegetables and cheese. And they like, that ain't no struggle meal. Shrimp and struggle.
Right.
Like in her mind,
Right.
that was struggle. And
Yeah.
I laughed so hard
Right.
because that was me doing my best. In my best, she thought that she was struggling.
Mm. Yeah.
Like, girl, you don't know that beans, rice, and cornbread is a struggle meal.
Not look. Let's not pretend that some restaurants don't share it or provide that type of meal as an etiquette. I don't know why, as a delight or delicacy.
When you came in the house and seen that pot of beans on the stove, that it wasn't no money for that day.
Listen,
If it wasn't no fried chicken or no fish or no see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying?
hey day, all day, I'm playing. Put a turkey neck in it. Put a turkey neck in it.
Yeah. And that's the meal. You got your meat, you got your legumes, and you got your starch.
See, I love what you said. We have about 5 minutes. I want to go over some reflective statements that parents can use in their back pockets with their little boys, their men, their young men. Because even young men at 18, they are still babies. They are not grown men. At 25, you are still, to me, you are still a baby. You are not even a grown, you ain't grown. Until that front part of your brain, the thinking, the organizational part, when that is fully developed, then we can talk about you being a full grown man. But until then, you are still in a place where I have to be, gentle with you. I have to teach you. I have to guide you. So let's think about some reflective statements that we could say. So instead of saying, stop crying, it's not that serious.
I hate that one.
I hate that one. Stop crying, it's not that serious. Because I've said that before. I hate myself for that.
I have. I know I have.
Otherwise, we could say, you're having a big feeling. You're having an overwhelming feeling. And I'm here with you. You say that, and then you can ask a question. I'm here with you. You're having a big feeling. That is what we do in counseling. We paraphrase, we provide reflection, and then we ask, how can I help you?
You know what I do? When I see that this 7-year-old is melting?
Yes.
The big answer is, come here.
Hugs.
That's it.
Yeah. Because some kids, that may be their love language.
It's an instant calm down for him.
Yeah.
How can I help you? But you know what? I never had hugs. I told your kids that I didn't grow up with hugs. I didn't even know that hugs were needed. I never got a hug for nothing.
Yeah. A lot of us weren't really, by the time we were like 7 or 8, we stopped. A lot of our parents, and I would say especially our mothers, there was not a lot of intimate physical touch in a respectful way, where I'm here with you, you can lean on my shoulder, which is why a lot of us have grown up not knowing how to do that. Mm-hmm. I get it. Again, we were born during the crack era. I'm just playing, but still not playing. I'm not playing though. The other statement that our kids did, why do you always do this? I hate that statement. Why do you always do this? Using always is a trigger for me because nobody always does something, right? So instead of saying that, we could say, help me understand what you need right now.
So because I'm a silly parent, when I don't say, why are you always, I say, what's up with you? Where we at? What's going on?
I see you, you see me. I am a silly parent. And sometimes I'll do a Gen Z thing and I'll be like 6'7" this.
Like
6'7" this. What is this?
When you know that meme, it's a brown skinned girl and she got like a little fan ponytail and she's going like this. Like,
yes. Yeah.
That's exactly what I'd be looking at my kids like, where we at? Like, what are you doing? Yeah,
sometimes you gotta be silly. And another thing too is with your Black boys.
To be silly. Like I want Black mothers to have permission to be silly with their kids.
Be silly, and everything is not serious.
You
know what I mean? Like, a lot of times in my family, one of the ways that they were silly was to embarrass you and to say mean things, but as a joke. That's not the silly we're talking about. We're talking about
me, please. I don't want it.
That's not the silly we're talking about. That doesn't provide thick skin. In fact, those type of hurtful comments or playing that doesn't provide thick skin. It provides a thin layer of skin that causes triggers and causes anxiety. So we're talking about a goofy, silly where your kids can relate to you.
Right, because be in their environment for once.
Absolutely.
And not pull them into, because 6-7 is all over the place.
It's weird, but I will go there with them and I'll be like, what's up?
It's like, hello, are we cool? Where we at? Can you hear me? Well, exactly. I tell my kids, I'll tell my kids, turn on your listening ears. They be like,
I love it.
Come on, because you're not listening. You can't hear me.
The other one is, either go upstairs or go calm down by yourself. I've done that before, but what I could have done better with my boys especially is let's breathe together first. Let's breathe together first. You have to model, parents, Black women, we need to model self-regulation. How do we do that? We breathe with our kids. We can model how to regulate our nervous system with our Black boys.
I left my paper. What did you say last week? A child needs a
regulated parent.
A dysregulated child needs a regulated parent. There we go.
I'm glad you remember what I said because I did not. That's beautiful. And I love you for that. And then the other one, the last one, is silent treatments and cold distance. Black mothers, don't do that to your men and don't do that to your boys.
Let me tell you something. Just say it. You know what? Lead with kindness. My favorite line in the whole world, right? Yes. Lead with kindness. Kindness is layered with truth. And if you just be kind in what you need to say, and the truth is there, it doesn't need to be nasty. It doesn't need to be nasty.
It doesn't need to be nasty. It doesn't have to have an attitude. It doesn't have to. And a lot of times I hear some Black women say, and what we've said in our communities and what I've said before is not, is I keep it real. But keeping it real doesn't have to be hurtful. Keeping it real doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be sassy. This whole idea of I throw shade. Why? For what?
Who catches?
You got that kind of energy.
Catch your shade. I don't.
You gotta be petty. For what?
I don't want your shade. I don't want to be under your shady tree. I don't want any of that. I actually like the sunshine. Please.
I love the sunshine. Exactly. And I felt led to say, because I've failed at this a couple of times because I'm human and I'm going from experience. And this is just off the cuff because I didn't even write this down. But when you are married or in a relationship to Black mothers, or even when you're single, be careful how you talk about Black men. Be careful how you treat Black men in front of your Black boys. Be careful how you talk to them. If it's an aggressive tone, it's overacted, like it's overhyped with aggressiveness, or I got it and da-da-da-da and this and that. Your Black son is going to see you in this aggressive manner. They're going to see you as somebody who is disrespectful. And then they're going to say later on, I don't want to be with a Black woman because of A, B, C, or D. Now, a lot of Black men that do say that, really, I think a lot of them, sometimes a good amount, may use it as just a way to not hold accountability for themselves, But for those that actually have been hurt too, watch how, Black mothers, watch how you talk about Black men, watch how you treat Black men, and watch how you treat the ones in your life. Yeah.
Even the ones that are walking down the street that's homeless, they're just as human as you are.
Yeah.
You don't have to be nasty if that person come up to you and ask you for some change. If you don't have it, you don't have it. I'm sorry, maybe next time.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't have, get away from you. You don't have to.
You don't have to do that. And it's the way we treat our men. See, this is the thing about a communal kind of people. We are very communal. The way we treat our men is a mirror to how they see themselves. It is a mirror to how they see themselves. If I go to James right now and, I get an attitude and I'm like, you ain't doing it, and all this kind of stuff, Jameson, Joshua, that's the way they see themselves. They're going to, it's going to have a parallel process. It's going to be mirrored within them. So I think just as Black mothers, just to stay on topic of that, it is very important that we understand and heal. And I'm not saying heal so Black men want us. That's not what this is about. This is about making sure that our Black boys and the Black community are respected and covered and protected emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, so that way, when they think about Black women, whether they love us or not, they can actually say, I've been emotionally protected. My emotions matter and they were validated. You know what I mean? And one of the last, when we just said that silent treatment and cold distance, it creates a disconnect. So instead of doing that, have a calm presence, even if you don't feel like talking, or if you're angry, if you're upset, you can still have a calm presence. It doesn't have to be perfection, but your presence and your tone and your demeanor, it can just say a lot. It verbalizes a lot. So just keep that in mind as you move forward into being a Black woman who's cognizant of how she's coming off to her son, to her young son, her teen son, or her son is an adult. We want to go from emasculation to empowered. Empowered looks like, your son having a higher self-esteem. Shakera, we come from a generation of people that say, if I beat you, if I have abused you verbally or emotionally, that built thick skin. And that is totally the opposite. The people that have been abused have a high ACEs score. The people whose feelings have not been validated have a high ACEs score, which is adverse childhood experiences. Their trauma levels are through the roof. There's no such thing as thick skin. Your epidermis cannot get thick from abuse. It's impossible. But what happens, your organs and the somatic symptoms within your body, those get triggered, you become hypervigilant. Now you have anxiety. Now you have trauma. Now you have heart attacks at an early age. Now you have diabetes. All these things are as a result of a lot of the traumas that, you've went through. So nothing regarding abuse, spankings, any of that, hitting, treating people who are 5 like an adult, none of that creates thick skin. It creates a thin layer of anxiety. It creates all those organs to act up, so that they can't function as an adult properly. And now they're walking around wondering what's wrong and not knowing inadvertently that it was trauma. So I say all that to say, let's empower, let's be mindful and cognizant as Black women of our tone and demeanor, how we're coming off to our boys. And let's just build a safe community.
To our kids, period, because our girls need it too.
Yes, our girls need it. And that might be the next show. Let's talk about Black mothers and girls, and how, especially what I saw in my family, how jealousy has ran rampant in the Black community between mothers and girls. And that is the reason why a lot of Black women can't love on each other now. We'll talk about that later, but we ain't gonna get into that. We ain't gonna get into it now. Shakera, do you have any last words?
I don't. This was a great show. I think that this topic needs to be talked about a little bit more, and I would love to, continue it at some point if the people are interested in hearing more and dive in a little bit deeper. And I welcome the conversation for the girls' side as well, because I've been there.
You know how we do. We talk. I love talking with you, and I so appreciate you for saying yes and just protecting and providing for our babies that we have in our caseload. And I truly appreciate your strength and your wisdom and what you provide to Mindful Living. Thank you so much.
No problem. I love it here.
Yes. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining. People who are watching and people who will watch later, I appreciate you. This will be posted on my Facebook page, on my YouTube channel, on Mindful Living page, and we will be back soon. Thank you so much and have a great weekend.
Bye.